Here are 9 crucial tips you're going to want to hear before taking the AMC 8. You're definitely not going to want to miss this last tip as it can save you many points. Many of these tips are mistakes that I made and I had to learn the hard way. I wish somebody told me about these earlier. Starting off with bring colored pencils and pens. Especially for geometry problems, colors can make it so much easier to see what's going on and visualize the diagram. For example, take a look at this diagram over here. It looks so daunting, there's just a bunch of lines going out of everywhere. But now watch what happens when we add some color into it. 3, 2, 1. Boom. And now, a colorful diagram, it's so much easier to see and visualize it and make geometric observations. Next, tip number 2. Reread what the question part is asking for. You're taking the AMC8, you solve number 23. You find the side length of the square, and you quickly mark your answer and move on. But the question is asking for the area of the square. So now you got the question wrong. Oh no! This is why it's always important to reread the question part is asking for so you don't make this mistake. Tip number 3. Double check your bubbled answers on the answer sheet. Towards the end of the contest, make sure you check and make sure that all your answers of the answer sheet align with all your answers that you actually calculated from the questions. One time it happened where I skipped a question and then all the remaining answers were shifted up by 1. So then they were all wrong. You definitely don't want that to happen to you. So always double check your bubbled answers, and you should do that by saying 1A, 2D, 3C, and not just going on quickly saying DC, AB, AB, C, D, or whatever. Because then you make sure that each answer actually matches up with a question number. Tip number 4. Don't get stuck on any question. Sometimes it's easy to get into the mentality that, oh, this is just number 5, I should be able to solve it. And then you just keep wasting more time and more time on that question. You should move on, and you can always come to it later. Oftentimes, questions are misplaced or they're bashy. So if you're not able to solve it or make any progress, then it's a good idea just to skip it, and you can always come back to it later. Tip number 5. Don't be intimidated by questions at the end. Make sure to budget your time wisely and save some time to look at the questions at the end. You shouldn't be afraid of the question number. Just because it's number 22 doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be that hard. It could be from your strong subject, or maybe you've seen a similar problem before. So always take a quick look at some of the end questions and see if maybe you can make some progress on any of them or even solve them. Now let's move on to tip number 6. Don't leave any question blank. Remember, there's no negative marking, so you should not be leaving any questions blank. So guessing will give you a 20% chance of getting each question correct. Even better, use meta-solving techniques. Meta-solving techniques are these really cool things that allow you to find answers to problems without actually solving them. I covered these techniques in more detail in the video here. You can find on it by clicking on the eye in the top right corner of your screen, right there. Tip number 7. Sleep well, eat healthy, and stay calm. It's not worth it to stay up till 4 a.m. cramming. It's much more important to be well rested. This may seem obvious, but I cannot emphasize the importance of this. If you happen to find yourself being stressed before the contest, you can take a moment to take a few deep breaths. You'll be much more calm and focused after it. Also, some people recommend eating dark chocolate before the contest. In middle school, my math teacher used to bring chocolate for people who did not have it. Tip number 8. Do a timed test to practice all of these tips and strategies. What happens to many people is they do well at home, but in the contest, they get too stressed because of the clock and the pressure. So it's important to simulate these conditions at home and actually practice taking full tests with time pressure and everything else. You can find the AMC8 pass contest and other AMC8 mocks in the link below for practice and to simulate these conditions. And again, also make sure to practice all of these strategies I've been telling you so that they become natural when you're taking the actual contest. And finally, tip number 9. Review all the important concepts and formulas before the AMC8. You can find the All You Need to Know to Ace the AMC 8 video. It covers nearly all the concepts you need to know for the AMC 8. You can click on it right here. With all these tips in mind, I'll sure you'll do great.